Don't you dare.
Yes.
You're going to catch me trying to do that.
Ravina, your volume is incredibly awful. So can you do me a favor? See the mute button right next to that. There's a little arrow thingy. Just click on that. And then audio settings should pop up. Daniel, I know where you're going with this.
Look, it would be like me drinking whiskey in front of you all right now. The first time I've met you, you're doing live Indian tech support before this podcast.
That's right. Pick on the one girl on your mantle, guys. Come on.
But
Yeah.
That's also an Indian pastime, I feel.
Yeah. So yeah, let's welcome our guests who are already here to begin with. First up, founder and CEO of Dead Ad Comedy, Ravina Raval. Ravina, what up?
Hello. Hello. Thank you.
And of course, a very new young comic on the block that you may or may not have seen. Please give it up for Aadar Malik. Yay! But Daniel, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on. And thank you for starting off with a great joke. This has been the best cold open we've had in a long time.
It's unfortunate that I didn't record it the first time he said it. It was funnier.
Made him do it again.
I mean, I was
funny anytime.
It was one of those things where I'm sat there being like, oh, this is very, very low hanging fruit. But also because I'm with other funny people, I'm like, I've got to be the first to get it.
Yes.
In an art form filled with scavengers, I had to be there first just to make sure I establish myself.
No, but first up, big tour happening. So tell us about that. So Ravina, how many comics said no that you said I have to go to Daniel now?
Hey, again, go to Daniel again. Not a lot. This was a very, very exciting thing when I saw him put out this desperate plea on social media saying, hey, I really, really want to come back. And does anyone know how one does that? I was really excited to be like, hey, what do you need help with? And then we sort of mapped it all out. And he wouldn't stop adding cities to it. And he just wanted one more. But how about this? But how about this? And hey, has anyone ever done Goa before? And should we just do that as well? And so
I don't think Daniel wanted to do a show in Goa as much as he wanted to be in Goa.
Yeah, well. And then suddenly we were at the largest tour ever by an international comedian.
Yeah. What up?
It's very exciting for us. Like when we did India for the first time last year, which is something that had been on my to-do list for forever. It was such a fun experience, and then the Dead Ad Comedy Festival was such a fun and well-run thing that the second Ravina got in contact with us, it was a match made in heaven, pretty much. And then, I mean, man, I just said exactly, she said, just send me fucking everywhere. Like I'm more than happy to, be treated not necessarily like a guinea pig, but to just like show me India. Like I want to, if I'm going to insult you properly, I have to fucking see it.
See it, yeah. No, and the response to the festival was insane. I was there at it, and I just saw the immense craze that Indian fans had, especially a friend of mine as well who was in the crowd at that time. And I want you to take us through that amazing incident that happened on stage, where you have decided to do push-ups with your shirt off.
So, like, I mean, I don't know how much of this will get out of the podcast, but one of the things that I've learned about performing in India is, unlike whiny American comedians and whiny Australian comedians and whiny British comedians, India actually has censorship. Like real actual, not like, oh God, I said something horrible and now I'm being yelled at online. India has like, hey, don't ever do that. And I've met people who have experienced that, and so I go on stage with that in my head. And again, like there's a responsibility as a comedian to push back boundaries. And but there's also the desire within me of like, I want to come back to India. I don't want to do anything that's going to jeopardize returning to this amazing place. So there's one joke in my show, which in the rest of the world means something entirely different. But because it's such a different culture, I didn't realize like that it could have a connotation towards something I wasn't allowed to speak about. And it got a really, really big reaction from the audience. Like they loved it. And I was like, oh, I've accidentally pushed a button here. That's funny. Ha ha ha. And at that point, the microphone cut. Right? And it just cuts. And I'm like, okay, that's an unfortunate coincidence. I'll make a joke about that. It's like, you know, it would be insane to think that anyone's actually here to take me down. And then I go backstage, and my support act Kai, who's always pretty much directly there, or my manager, who is always there with a spare microphone in case this happens, he's not there. My manager's not there, and I'm like, okay, and there's no one there. The second microphone doesn't work, and I'm like, there's security all around the room, because of course there's security around the room anyway. And I'm just getting paranoid at this point, being like, oh my God, like, is this, am I about to be like actual real life cancelled? And I don't know why you know, there's only so much comedy you can do without a microphone. Like my talent isn't clowning, it's not juggling, it's not mime. You know, I'm not like boy with tape on his face who can make everyone laugh without. And all I had at that point was I thought I was going out. I was like, if this is, you know, if I'm going to be arrested here, I might as well pump myself up before I go to prison, just so nobody else picks on me.
Yeah. Well, I would just like to add that we were adding tags to it. He was in the middle of this bit about censorship. Yeah. And the sound suddenly goes off, which was amazing because the audience didn't know. They thought it was part of the bit. And so they kept waiting, and he kept standing there and saying, you know, your voice could be silenced, and then there's no mic. And I kind of I just about sat down in the front seat to kind of, you know, see the dream act perform. And I had to go flying back out because I was like, something's up. But to his credit, I mean, he just stood there and he was like, cool, and gave the audience, I mean, I would have plugged it out, and I think I took a little bit longer. Put it back in, because I was like, how much further is he going to go? The crowd was roaring.
They were loving it, and there was one specific voice from the crowd that asked you to do something which you did, and that was my friend.
Oh, good. Glad to know the company you keep, Thakur.
No, it was good. It was like those 10 minutes were fucking hilarious, and the entire crowd, I remember, was on your side. You know, when it happened first, I thought it was a part of the act. Then I see Raveena flying by in her cape, and I'm like, wait, shit's going down. And you know, automatically different comedians in different parts of the room are just looking at each other like, dude, what? Like literally what you were thinking is what? And then we realized that it wasn't that fortunate.
Oh,
it was part of the act, guys. I mean, what is this? It was definitely, come on. We had a whole lineup, and he had this audio bit, and he was like, pull it out, Raveena.
It was Raveena's idea, actually. She came up with this. She was like, this will work
cool tag. Yeah.
And then she was like, and then take your shirt off and do 20 30 press ups.
That's what she says to all the comedians.
Oh, I thought I was special.
No, you're not special.
How did you get the gig, Daniel?
There was like a bit where, look, as much as I like to think of myself as like a intelligent, boundary-pushing comedian who, you know, people like me because I'm intelligent and I make good points. That's true for some of my fans. But looking at my market and my demographics, some people just like me because they want to have sex with me. It's two-thirds of my fan base are women, and the other third are those women's boyfriends. Like, that's just...
We're just following you to see, okay, what is this guy up to now? Let me see.
It's that. So look, a better comedian would have been able to do something in the room, but the narcissist in me was like, well, I mean, I can give them what most of them want.
It's interesting that you say that 2/3 of your fans are women, and then the other third is their boyfriends, because there's a little rumor piece about you on the internet that says that you're responsible for about 17,000 breakups.
Oh, way more than that.
Dude, yeah, speaking of Daniel, I went through like 17 different articles and the number keeps changing. It's like a regular Indian media report. You know what I mean? Like it's never it goes from 500,000 breakups plus divorces to like 17,000. So what is the actual number?
I mean, so the number now in terms of divorces is I don't think we've broken 500 divorces, but we're around 400. I think a bit over that. And in terms of breakup, I mean, we stopped counting about 2 or 3 years ago, but I do still get 2 or 3 messages a week from somebody who will tell me on social media that they've broken up with their partners because of the show. I'll almost always meet someone after a show who broke up with their partner, or their friend. Their friend was in a relationship with someone who they hated, and so they made their friend watch my special, and I saved the whole thing. So I mean, I would say after we stop counting and then adding that on, considering how long the special's out, a conservative guess would be, I would say, 350,000.
Wow!
That breakups, not divorces, but like
right.
Yeah. Like I think when the Netflix released their statistics of like how, because Netflix never used to release their statistics, so you never knew how many people watch your stuff. When they released last year's numbers, it was just last year's total, even though Jigsaw came out in fucking 2018.
2018, yeah.
2018. So 5 years ago, well, 4 years ago in 2023, still 1.2 million people have watched it on Netflix.
Wow.
Maybe it wasn't about, maybe it was about 800,000. Maybe it was just short. But
let's just say a million.
And nobody's gonna fucking check.
But what I'm most curious.
I'll Donald Trump it. It was 70 million. It was 70 million.
It was 700 billion people watched it.
No, it's more than the number of people on the earth. So it was 7.28 billion. But Daniel, I have a question. Who messages you more? The boys who get dumped, the boys who break up, the girls who get dumped, or the girls who break up? Like,
it's, to be fair, like I make jokes that it's all just women. I do have lots of men telling me they've managed to get out of toxic relationships, abusive relationships. I very rarely have I had anyone who has been dumped tell me that's why. Because to be fair, I think when people watch Jigsaw and they break up with their partner, I don't think most of them say, by the way, I just watched this comedian dumped.
No, it'd be great if they did it at the end of the special. They'd be watching it. No, they'd be watching it together and then be like, okay.
Yeah. Well, I do think people do that. I do think people, from what they've told me, is like they'll watch the special with their partner, and either you laugh as a couple together and your relationship is fine, or you laugh.
Just look at each other.
Yeah, and then there's like a silence.
I saw a comment on his Instagram where they said quite recently, actually, that me and my partner watched it together and we have amicably looked at each other, laughed, and said, "Cool, so this is not for us." And then the guy came into the comments as well to sort of corroborate our story. And I was like,
wow. Dude, but I feel there is one divorce settlement somewhere where the reason for breakup is not infidelity or any of that. It's Jigsaw. Excuse me, what?
I have signed divorce papers that say that. Jigsaw has been cited in divorces. And I have autographed several actual divorce papers that have been finalized. I've autographed them for people. I had a guy when we were in Hungary. He drove from I can't remember the country, but he drove from like 2 countries away specifically to be like, "Hey man, can you sign this?" And in the divorce, Jigsaw was one of the many reasons. And
what's great is that the value of that divorce paper that might have an alimony amount just with your signature has now become more than the alimony amount.
But there are breakup parties, right? There's something called a breakup party, which could just have your screening, just have like 10 couples come in, you know, and just have a massive screening.
I'd love it, man. Like I genuinely love the because again, look, when I wrote Jigsaw, I got out of a really horrible relationship with a really horrible person, and I wrote this show in sort of this angle. Like I was so happy to be single. I wanted to write this show just talking about how much better it was to be single than it was to be in a relationship. And I stand by everything I said in the special. Me and my wife watched it the other day, and I don't think it's hypocritical to watch that show with my wife because the show was never about love not existing. It was about people settling for less than they're worth, right?
Yeah.
And I knew when I with the analogy, I knew how powerful it was because I had friends of mine break up when I told them it, and when I put it in the show, the occasional person would message me or tweet me. After Netflix, I never expected to go as fucking cult as it did. Like none of us were expecting it to do that, and I love the fact that people use it as like if they're friends in a bad relationship with someone who they fucking all the friends hate them, but the person just won't break up with their shitty partner.
Yeah.
Which is like, hey, why don't you come around for like a girls' night or a boys' night and we'll watch this comedian, this random special that I heard of. And I have no idea what it's about. And the whole time their friends watching it and they're just like, that's about you.
What I like is this makes for a really great reality show. You put 10 couples in a room, make them watch the special and see if they make it or not.
Nice.
It's a Netflix watch party, yeah.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that. I'm still waiting for because man, I watch a lot of garbage reality television. I love it, right? I love lots of really shitty dating shows. I'm still waiting for the day. Like some comedians like being named in like as a crossword answer, or they like on TV shows if like their name is the answer to a question. They're like, oh, that makes me quite famous. Like apart from fucking divorce papers, that's how I would like to be remembered.
Oh,
yeah.
As a connoisseur of reality TV.
No. I with a reality TV person, when they come on and they're like, "Here's my views on dating shit," they're like, "I'm single because I watched Jigsaw."
Okay, so
yes, I've still to see myself be named on reality TV is the reason why someone.
Got it. You want to be eternalized in a video diary of a reality show contestant.
Yeah.
Okay, got
it. If you could make that happen, what would that reality show be? Which one are you most excited to want to be quoted on?
Well, oh God, I mean, Love is Blind.
Love is Blind.
Love is Blind is the big get.
That's what my wife is watching as we speak. Right, she's obsessed with that show.
Oh, it's piping hot garbage, and I cannot get enough of it. It is like it's diarrhea straight into my eyeballs, and oh God, it's such a guilty pleasure. Like, man, I think reality television is detrimental to the human race. I think the way it is produced, the emotions that it evokes from us, really toxic parts of us that should not be celebrated. They make us judge people instantly. It's all awful. It's all awful.
Yeah.
But as long as you keep making it, I'm not going to stop consuming
Stop watching.
No. Yeah, man, it's smoking for the eyes. Like it's so bad for you.
Dude, my wife told me a story, okay, from Love is Blind. I have to share this, okay? Sorry, off topic, but still on topic. Okay, so Love is Blind is a show where you don't see the person, you just talk to them, right? And then they're not allowed to say how they look or, anything that will make the other person be able to visualize them. It's just their conversations. So at some point in time, one of the girls who's behind it has told this guy that my friends tell me I look like Megan Fox. Okay.
Oh. She didn't say that. What she actually said was, my friend, he went, "Do you have any celebrity doppelgangers?" And she went, "Oh, my friends say I look like the girl that MK, what's his name? Machine Gun Kelly's married to." And you could see him be like, "You look like Megan Fox."
Megan Fox.
It's No. But to be fair, in her defense, right? She didn't say I look like that. She's like, my friends say I look like this. Like,
that's how you would say it. Yeah.
Yeah. He's the one that went.
Yeah. I mean, my mom always thought I look like Clint Eastwood. I get it. I get that. The point is that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
she had glasses, right? Really high, and you never paid for a prescription. Yeah.
Baba, you look like Clint Jogeshwari Eastwood, bro. Yeah. So Daniel, basically, now you've gotten the gist of the podcast. This is pretty much what we do. Just But another thing that we do is we always sort of find random, interesting, weird facts about things. So since you're here, we decided to scour the internet. We with help from Ravina and team as well, and we've gotten a bunch of stuff that we found out about you on the internet. So we just want to go through a bunch of it. Okay, so this one
if
I'm
you
very
react badly, it's going to be that's what Ravina's team came
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to joke. I'm going to joke on it. Anything that you, I'm like that's me.
That's the research team. Yeah.
Yeah. And you didn't like that one? That's Dead End research team. Okay, so this one I'm personally interested in knowing the most is because you said that you've made a twat of myself in front of Bill Burr once.
Yeah.
What was that? How was that? When was that? Why was that?
Oh, well, I mean, the full story is he was over doing the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and it was like during the years when me and my friends were just like idiots during the festival. We were just party animals. We were, we every year at the festival we heard about all the parties that all the comedians that we'd loved and like how chaotic it was, then going out and staying up until 7 a.m. So we were just very much trying to emulate that between the years of 2013 and 2019. So Bill Burr comes over, we all go see a show, we have a couple of drinks during the show, but we're there to watch one of the masters. And then afterwards we go out and party, and I end up just taking a lot of drugs. Because we're in an artist bar, and I'm like, it's a Friday night, and then Bill Burr's there, and I'm like, and we've got the same international management or touring company. So one of my tour guys like, do you want to meet Bill Burr? And I'm like, man, no way, I'm on so many drugs, like I can't. I want to talk to him sober about comedy and
the art.
But I also
want process.
But I also wanted him to see me as a fucking real comic as well. Like that's obviously so. And then I just spoke to him while on too many drugs. Like at one point, I think I chewed his fucking ear off. Like, and I didn't look like somebody who was taking comedy seriously because because I wasn't fucking taking comedy seriously.
When Bill Burr came to Bombay, all of us took him to a local restaurant to eat like butter chicken.
Yeah.
Right. And I really don't know why we took him to a place that's infamous.
No, he wanted to go. Basically.
Yes, but I didn't know why we took him to a place that's infamously famous for food poisoning.
Diarrhea.
Right?
Yeah.
Which one? Where did you take him?
Off the podcast, Ravina. We'll talk about this off the podcast.
Because we don't want the restaurant to come after us.
Yes. Also because we still go there. But the thing is, and it's literally Bill Burr in one corner, and it's just Indian comics from like the edge of that wall all the way to the end, just like looking at him eat food. Like, while we were just like asking him really strange questions. So I think we've all made a fool of us.
Dude, we chewed his ear out because he's sitting there eating kebab and everybody's like, so what's your process like? I'm like, he's not going to leave the fucking kebab and be like, so my process is that, I don't usually do this before a show.
My process is I don't talk to open mindeds.
Yeah,
exactly.
Then most of us were at that point. Yeah, God.
Yeah, speak for yourself, Aadar.
Bill Burr doesn't take any comedian seriously then.
When he came here, he had one day in between his flights. So his manager just called and said, hey, listen, will he do it? So the person he called didn't know who Bill Burr was. Okay, so this person has then called or like Tanmay and Khamba and a whole bunch of other big Indian comics saying, yo, listen, there's a guy called Bill Burr who wants to come to India. And the first thing they all say is, can I open? Can I open? Can I open? Can I open? And the word spreads like suddenly like Bill Burr's coming and everyone's gone mental. Tickets sold out in no time. Okay. And it was 60% of the audience was comedians. We've
the
first, we heard about it first.
8 rows were comedians. The first 8 rows were comedians. So, and every single comic is like, that's funny because is he going there? And it's analysis. It's not. You're suddenly like,
there's no joy in it.
Yeah.
It was a lecture. It was a lecture for all of us, which is when a lot of people showed up with notebooks. It's like, okay, this is what he did.
And that must suck from Bill's perspective. Like, you come over and the first 8 rows are just like fucking reviewers, just like, oh, like, oh man.
Not even reviewers, just
no, not reviewers, just comedians.
Yeah.
Just a whole bunch of people saying, how would I do this joke differently? All right, I'll.
but it was outstanding. It was a thing. The other thing that we did read about you on the internet, and I'm invested in this one, is that you're a Chelsea fan.
Was.
Oh, yeah, I can.
Wow! You
Yeah.
switched clubs? You
Did you
switched clubs?
switch clubs or allegiances, or you gave up football after watching Chelsea play?
Oh, I would pretty much the second one. I mean, don't get me wrong. I now very much have a soft spot for Wrexham.
Oh, for Wrexham. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
I'm just enjoying their journey. But also, like, my son is 2 years old, and I'm really hoping he gets into football. So my dad never took me to football. So I'm just sort of going to I'm going to do, instead of me telling my son who to support, I'm going to let my son pick a team. And I'm like, right, that's who we're going to go through the journey together with.
Good luck supporting Man City, man.
Oh no, it'll be a Scottish team. It'll be games we go to.
Oh, it's going to be a Scottish team. Okay.
He's gonna watch shit football. Like that's going to be
like Aberdeen. He's watching Aberdeen and stuff like that.
Yeah, he'll probably be a Celtic fan. His granddad is a massive Celtic fan, so that's his mother's dad. I was a Chelsea fan for years and years and years. Loved them. Did not care about the Russian blood money. Was a big fan of that. I was able to turn a blind eye to all the, the sexism, the racism, the homophobia, the bigotry. I was able to ignore all that because we were winning Champions Leagues. So who cared? I could ignore all of the cheating and the diving and who gives a fuck? We were bastards, but we were my bastards. But Chelsea had this revolving door policy of managers, and I got so fucking bored of it. And at the end, it took the piss. Thomas Tuchel, who won us the Champions League, was fired after spending £500 million.
Yep.
Right? So he bought £500 million worth of players, and then they fired him, which is the dumbest thing you could do because he didn't put them into play. And again, he won us the Champions League, which in my head gives you 3 years to do whatever the fuck you want. You can be as shit as you want. You wanted the Champions League. Chelsea fired him immediately, brought in another manager called, and we changed managers between evil big Russia and now big evil America.
We changed owners. Yeah.
And the new owner was like, right, that old Chelsea's done. No revolving door policy. We're going to give managers time. They brought in Graham Potter. They gave him another £500 million, which he spent, and they're like, we're going to give him 3 years minimum. And I'm like, great, that's all I want. Even if he's shit, give him 3 years fucking minimum. That's what he deserves. And they fired him after 8 months, and I went, I'm done. I'm fucking done.
No, I mean, I'm a Chelsea fan. I'm a Chelsea fan sitting in Bombay, and I'm telling you, I know the feeling.
It's disgusting.
I know it's horrible. Yeah.
Again, like I have stood with this fucking. We have looked like idiots. And one of the worst clubs in the entire world for years. We're just an evil, evil, evil fucking team, right? Yeah. But we've never looked dumb as fuck. We've never looked so. Our entire transfer policy at the last transfer window was
8 years signing
Arsenal.
Windows. 8-year windows and stuff like that. Yeah. No, I get it. I'm interested that you've quit football, and you've quit being a Chelsea fan. But I love that you still say we and are while referring to club. I'm thrilled. I'm fine.
Well, the most Chelsea thing about me is that I am a whiny fucking bastard.
So Daniel, I found another thing where you said in an interview that you're straight, but you would let what's his name again? One second. Oh, wait, there's more because this article had such a. This was Jim Coulter. Was it Jim Coulter?
Oh, yes. I don't know if it's Jim Coulter, but the Coulter.
Jim Coulter. Is it Luke Cage? Luke Cage?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't let him fuck me, but I'd marry him. Like, we would have a good life together. Like, he's a man. You can be straight and tell, like, any
100%.
You can be straight and appreciate somebody else's good looking and attractive. Like and again, it doesn't have to be what society says. We all have our own fucking tastes. But any man that's like, I couldn't point out a handsome man. Absolute fucking nonsense, man. We all know who's sexy.
We all do it
because we know how ugly we are. Right? So when we see a man,
like, that's what I want to look like.
Yeah, we see a man who's more attractive than us. We're like, oh well, I'm not him. We know who's attractive.
Dude, you won't believe one of the very like first 15-20 minutes of my stand-up routine that I ever wrote at the very start of my career. 5 minutes were focused on how badly I want to have sex with this one Bollywood actor called Hrithik Roshan. That my entire set was on that. I'm not gay, but I'd like Hrithik Roshan fuck me. It was
let me Google him. Let me find out. Yeah. What's his name?
Hrithik Roshan.
HRI.
Yeah.
HRI.
Hrithik Roshan.
Yes, that's it.
Oh,
and
okay.
You literally pressed H and he showed up.
Oh my god, yeah, Jesus, fucking hell.
Am I right or am I right?
Oh my god, that body, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Absolutely, fucking.
Yeah. I mean, he's quite a Greek god. I mean, you got to.
Not even kidding. Okay, back when I was at uni,
a Greek god. There was a scene in a movie where he decided to be a Greek god statue amongst a bunch of other statues. And you couldn't, he blended in.
Right.
Doom 2 is Aadar is talking about Doom 2.
Oh my god.
You're like, this Zeus looks fake, but Hrithik, that looks like a Greek god.
Yeah.
Because I was saying, this thing about, like the first time I remember consciously recognizing that I'm literally looking at another guy, right? I was in uni in London and I went to the Abercrombie and Fitch store for the first time in my life. Right? And after that, I went to the Abercrombie and Fitch store many, many times. Never bought anything, but just went because, yes, the women are hot, but the guys, dude, they're ripped. They look so fucking good. I'm like, what are you doing here? Isn't there a big budget Hollywood movie that's waiting for you to come on set? Like, you're fucking amazing.
It's not they're not just underwear models. They're one level above that in like.
Dude, they're in a full t-shirt. They're not even underwear. They're wearing a t-shirt and denims.
They're topless.
Ravina,
no,
your eyes showed you what you wanted to see.
Yeah, I know what Ravina's talking about. No, some stores in America that did some
in New York, in New York they're topless, and it's really sort of
Which is very counterproductive to selling t-shirts. Like, they
were selling jeans.
Buy the t-shirts. Okay.
They're almost
everything.
I think that's a great strategy. They're standing there topless. Dudes come in. They're like, "Do you look like this?" He's like, "No." Then you need a t-shirt. They're right here. You can get 2 for 1. I remember then girlfriend saying, "Your mouth is open." So I was looking at it. She said, "You can shut your mouth." I was looking at it, dude. Never forget that.
Wow.
Also,
and then you all watch Jigsaw.
Yeah. This is way before Jigsaw. Okay. So also, Daniel, why do you think people who drink lattes are babies? What's up with that?
Well, I think coffee is an adult drink. I agree. Coffee's for adults. You would never give coffee to a baby, and milk is for babies. Almost famously, milk is for babies.
Yeah.
And what is a latte? They've pitched it. They've pitched it as coffee. It's sold in a coffee shop. It's not fucking coffee. It's what 80-90% milk.
Milk, yes.
Yeah, right. So it's milk. It's milk. It's coffee flavored milk is what you're having. So it's a baby's version of.
That's
coffee.
He's being very gentle right now about this, but he's
to...
very angry about it actually. And started a whole war on Instagram. So he's been very like, "Hey guys."
Yeah. Oh, the clip that we posted on our fucking socials got banned from TikTok for bullying.
Oh my God.
Take it down. It's back up now because TikTok doesn't actually care about bullying. All you have to do is reply, "No, it's not," and they're like, "Yeah, fair enough." Why would he lie? So it's back up. But I was very aggressive. Like, I think, look, you're allowed to enjoy lattes. I enjoy things for babies. I love ice cream. I eat fucking gummy sweets all the time. But I don't pitch gummy sweets as if I'm like, oh, it's one of the finest French fucking desserts. I'm eating sweets, right? I'm a big baby eating sweets. If you're drinking a latte, you're a fucking baby drinking milk. So just don't say, can you get me a coffee? Be like, can you get me a big glass of milk and put some coffee in it?
I get your point. Your point is you don't be arrogant about liking. Don't call it a coffee when you're drinking milk. Don't be arrogant.
Don't pretend to be a coffee drinker. Look, I don't even like coffee. I drink instant coffee. I only drink coffee for the effect. I couldn't give a fuck how it tastes. Just get it to wake me up, right?
Yeah.
That's all I'm after it for. I don't pretend to be a coffee connoisseur, but a lot of latte drinkers will sit there and be like, oh God, this is such a good type bean of coffee. How do you know? You're drinking milk around it. Like you don't, like it's mostly milk. It's a milk you're drinking. You're a liar. You're a lying piece of shit.
This is a great pet peeve, Daniel.
Baby.
It's a great pet peeve. I mean, that just sort of begs the question, like,
what about oat milk then?
Oh, you're a vegan, baby. That's worse.
He is. Speaking of
vegan babies.
I said, you're like, you guys are allowed to be vegan. I get it.
Yeah.
Oh no! 1 second.
No, we are not.
We're not. Yeah, I've eaten enough to never be able to justify. Like, I will never be in positive. Like in the scale of me taking life as a human being, I will never be able to compensate by being vegan for the rest of my life. The amount of meat I've eaten.
Yeah. Maybe you should get into like cloning chickens then.
Yeah.
It's like that's the way you can give back.
Would you have the fake meat? Like I might just like take the lab produced meat again.
Oh, if the way they're 3D printing meat now, like because they can 3D print skin, if they can do that and it legitimately tastes the same, I have zero problem with that. Now, here's an ethical question for you, right? If there's somebody out there, some awful, crazy psychopath who wants to eat human meat, that's wrong and that's disgusting. We should put that person in jail. If the skin and the human meat can be 3D printed, is it ethical for that person to eat that meat?
I mean, vegans make the argument when they're eating plant-based meat.
You're solving cannibalism. You're literally being like, oh, this person can just satisfy
How
their
big
urges.
a problem is it?
This needs to be addressed, right? Okay.
No, but my real question with this observation is actually what I want to get to in terms of your comedy, Daniel, which is philosophically, what do you approach it at? Do you do stuff that is necessarily, like as a comic, do you do stuff that's necessarily going to be polarizing? Like, do you pick a topic that, or do you think this is hilarious and it also happens to be polarizing?
Huh.
Oh, I don't think first of all, polarization, apart from like in today's modern political climate, polarization isn't that too bad of a thing if it's
not at all.
If it's for discussion and especially for comedy purposes, because if you polarize something, you've created two extremes to make fun of. So that's how we get juxtaposition. So it's, comedically, it's a very important thing to do. I never go out on when I'm writing. I never go, I'm going to talk about this, or this thing's in the news, so I'm going to do jokes about it. For me, it's art comes from stuff you are passionate about. The best routines I've ever written are the ones where I'm legitimately angry about something, or I'm really excited about something that's not just me being like, oh, there's a bus, so I'm going to write 10 jokes about bus. I'm like, what gets me fucking angry? Because for some reason, latte drinkers and people like seeing me angry because I've got an accent, a malleable face, and when I panic, I take my shirt off and do press ups. A lot of the time I go, if I say something, I'm like, fuck, that sounds polarizing. I am like, oh, yum, 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 that'll be fun to play with. But I do think that all my comedy is saying horrific things and then explaining to the audience why they're not allowed to be upset by the horrific things I've just said. it's like the IKEA of comedy. It's very deconstructive. It's just like
you sort of dig yourself into a well and then try to crawl yourself out of it, right? Like that's what you're doing. Yeah.
But I think that because it's like, hey, look, we can say these things. This idea that something is off limits. We can't. Nothing is off limits, but how you get there is important. Right? Yeah. Like you can joke about absolutely anything, and I will defend any comedian's right to make a joke about any subject. But if your joke is shit and you've come at it for the wrong reasons and from the wrong angle, I am also going to tell you that it's a shit joke and you're a lazy comedian.
Yeah,
like, both can be true. Like we have a responsibility when talking about things to make sure that it's to provoke, it is to challenge. Now you can provoke and challenge about meaningless things, but you can also do it about bigger things. I like to, one of the big things in my life, just as a human being, is I want to be a good person. I think it's important to be a good person, but I struggle with it often because I'm a human being and I have urges that only pieces of shit have, or the ones that we all have. And it's a struggle. And I think finding morality in things is very, very, or questioning the morality of anything is a very good thing to just get people, to get them really paying attention to the comedy. And if they're paying attention, you can take them further.
Yeah, I think there's that line that that you open Kant with as well, or maybe you just did it for that show.
You're very much here, Ravina. Don't worry.
Yeah,
we can still hear you.
You're so used to being interrupted by men when you talk. You just like when we're
just
not
assumed
doing it,
that's what was
assuming
happening.
that's happening.
No, the phone started ringing. The whole laptop went nuts. Yeah, but there's a bit in Kant where I think you start off saying that you could joke about anything as long as it's funny, which is crucial. And I mean, I've seen this across the board, is that the people who get away with things are the people who are so funny about it, and they make you think of, you don't have the time to think about what are you even saying and is that even right to say, because it's just, but it's when you're really bad, it's like, okay, this wasn't funny, and also what an asshole thing to say.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I've been doing wrong. I get it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's the thing so many comedians fucking forget, and they put too much on the audience, I feel, right? Which is, it's our job to make the audience laugh. It's our job to make this fucking palatable, right? That's the skill. The art form is taking this horrible, indigestible truth and making it sweet enough to fucking swallow, right? And if you can't do that, you're shit at the job. Like Anthony Jeselnik is one of the best in the world for me, and he jokes about absolutely everything, and it's because there's just, but every time he does it, it's so very clear that he is in character. He is Anthony Jeselnik. There's an intelligence to it. I think lesser comedians and like watch him, see him just saying shocking things and think that like it's people with low creativity seeing someone with high creativity and not understanding the gulf between them.
I also think it's.
No, there was this Jeselnik interview where he went like, comedians are complaining about censorship and things like that. A lot of comedians in America are complaining about it. And he just went, no, you're not angry about the fact that you got restricted with regard to the topic. You're just angry you didn't get away with it.
Yeah.
And that's what a comedian needs to do. It's like the joke and how you got away with saying what you said on stage.
And I think
so cool.
And I think it's about like Anthony, for example, when he lands the joke, it does give you that, I get it, right? Like that little thing is so important to get to, which I think a lot of comics, and I think it's more in the imitation of, I'm going to be like Anthony Jeselnik, but not actually able to write a joke like Anthony Jeselnik, right? Like you can't copy. You can't be Anthony Hopkins. You can't act like Anthony Hopkins because Anthony Hopkins is Anthony Hopkins.
You've got the 3D printed meat.
You
got on your face.
Agreed. Like you got to do your own thing. Like you got to come at it your own way, and then you need to get there. Yeah, absolutely. Agreed.
Also, Daniel, like I believe you were one of the youngest comedians ever to perform on West End. Like you were like 19.
Yeah, I mean, fucking technically, but only on a technicality, so we could get that.
So what was it?
PR.
Wait, so what was this? Was this your?
There's a place called the Soho Theatre in London, which is technically
Yeah?
the West End, and it's a great theatre that loads of comedians do. And I did a solo show there.
I did.
Yeah. So you performed, man. It's great.
Yeah.
Stafford, yeah.
So I performed on West End as well.
Exactly. And so that it's just that. But nobody fact checks these things. Nobody follows the little fucking asterisks and being like, oh, not the actual real West End.
But the west part of it.
Yeah,
It's
the western part of the West. It's the western end of something.
Yeah.
And I'm the youngest to perform there because who gives a fuck? Who's checking that?
Yeah.
But so and you started comedy at 16, and I read somewhere that you didn't complete your uni or something, and then you decided to take a gap year and do comedy. Was that is that correct?
Yeah, I left high school. I got accepted into a university, and then I just decided not. Instead of doing a gap year after uni, I was like, I'll do it beforehand, pursue comedy for a year, and see if it works out. And then it did. And then so I messaged I sent an email to Dundee University. I was like, hey, just to let you know, I'm not coming. I'm going to pursue my dream of being a comedian. And they replied being like, hey, you've sent this to the wrong department. And I was like, cool. Like I've done. There's nothing more I can do. Like it's you send it where you need to go. Either way, I'm not fucking turning up.
You're not getting any money from me.
but technically speaking, that was your first great joke, right? Like that was your first. You told.
Man, and the fact that I got accepted into Edinburgh University laughed in my fucking face because like you have to write a personal statement being like, this is why I think I'd be a good fit at your university. To Edinburgh University, I was like, hey, I want to be a stand-up comedian way more than I want whatever this fucking history degree is. And Edinburgh has the best comedy club in Scotland. So it's been really beneficial if you let me into university. And for some reason that did not take them.
I would give marks. I'd give full marks for honesty. I'm like, that's you want honesty in the letter, right?
Unfortunately, it's not the Edinburgh University of Honesty, though. It's the Edinburgh University. So, you know.
But were your like folks okay with it? Like, did you?
Yeah, it was my mum's suggestion.
Oh,
like,
you know, the best part of this entire statement is that you figured this out during your gap year, right? A concept that does not exist in our country, because if you decided gap year, if I went to my parents, I want a gap year, I'd have a gap between my teeth because that's how big my dad's.
Why?
Like just take the year off.
Yeah, if you want a gap year, you fail.
Like, that means you failed. Yeah.
It must sound insane to you that I'm like, my parents suggested I take the gap year.
Yeah, exactly.
And they encouraged me to pursue the arts.
Oh my God.
Horrible people.
It's worse. They encourage you to go after performing arts, which makes it worse.
Yeah, I don't know if as Indian children you've heard this before, but my parents said to me, "We're proud of you no matter what." Has that ever come into you?
Oh wow!
No.
Oh my God.
It was we're proud of your sister no matter what.
We're proud of you if you get 96%. Yes, we're proud of you.
Where did you lose the 4 marks?
Yeah, exactly. Tell us that.
Oh no, my parents' early doors worked out that I was a certain type of intelligent, and it wasn't academic. Like they gave up those dreams early doors. They were like, okay, let's see where he ends up.
Well done.
So Daniel, when you're doing of course, when you're doing Edinburgh or you're trying something new at like a festival, a fringe festival, there's that kind of a comedy audience that's cultivated for that kind of comedy. Versus when you go to a late night show and you're trying to come up with a set that's like has to be 5 minutes or 7 minutes, and it's like everyone's just, and you gotta kill it in those 5 minutes. Like, is there a different way in which you kind of approach getting it together?
Oh man, I'm so unbelievably shit at 5, 7, 10, or 15 response now. Like man,
same.
Becoming a successful touring comedian has absolutely fucking ruined me in the clubs. Like I used to, 5, 7 minutes. All my jokes used to be fucking short form. They were 30 seconds long. They were a minute. They were a minute and a half. I could do the mental math myself. You give me any set list, any set time between 1 and 20 when I can fucking fill it. Now it's just, I'm on stage for 90 minutes. I love the sound of my own fucking voice. I talk forever. Somebody's like, you do 7 minutes? I'm like, I don't even think one of my jokes last 7 minutes. I think they're all, like, my show, as far as I can tell, is 4 20-minute lectures.
Yeah. Dude, we had the same conversation. Like, Neville, remember, like last weekend we were doing a lineup show and I had to do like 12 minutes or something like that.
How the fuck
And
did you 12 minutes,
I was so confused because I have an hour and a half long set that I can say in the middle of my sleep. I have everything packed down. I can do, but if you just tell me to take 12 minutes out of it, it just goes into a tizzy. I messed up the set so badly. Like, I was shit that after I came off stage, I'm driving back home, not listening to music, not answering anybody's call. Just, you know, when you have a bad show and it early, you're just like, you're a shit comedian. Like, you haven't written a good joke in the last 4 years.
That was your wife. That's not.
Was that a dead review?
I was like, what? What's happened to me? And I felt it for a week.
Yeah, that also happened because same show, what I've done is I've taken a bit that I thought was all funny and like, okay, this has all the beats, it'll do 7-8 minutes, not a problem. Except that it ends with a callback that I do in minute 2 of the show. And so I haven't, and it's not even occurred to me that it's a callback. And I'm like, oh, fuck, this is...
Oh, by the way, halfway through the joke, just to let you know, 2 years ago, this thing happened, anyway.
I like the punchline for this joke can be heard in my 1 hour set that I'm doing next week. So then you can come there and then piece it all together.
Oh my God, yeah.
The real Jigsaw.
The real Jigsaw. Nice. Okay, so Daniel, I'm going to take a bunch of comics names, okay, and you're going to tell me like the first thing that comes to your mind when I take that person's name. Yeah. We're gonna edit this. It's all editable, and this is a safe space. You can say what you want about who you want, and we promise
we'll make
that tape won't be anywhere.
Real. Yeah.
Don't worry, we always have deleted scenes as a second edit which we put out. So
if they come to our Patreon. So let's see. All right, okay, good. All right, first thing that comes to mind when I say Bill Burr.
I mean, my favorite.
You can say more than one thing. You can say like a sentence.
My absolute favorite. My shout for the GOAT.
All right, George Carlin.
Such an crucial part of comedy history. Any comedian who tells stories because George Carlin told stories.
Absolutely.
We are, in the same way that there is a bit of Genghis Khan in all of our fucking lives. Every single comedian who gets on stage has a little bit of George Carlin in them. Like, even if you don't think you like George Carlin, all of your favorite comedians like George Carlin.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, there's a bit of Genghis Khan in each of us. Has to be merch that you should take out, and that's a great one. All right, Bo Burnham.
The reason I will never be the greatest comedian my age.
Yeah, he is fantastic. He is
unbelievable. For me is special. What I know everyone loves Inside and fucking words was his early work was phenomenal.
What was
right for me? What is one of the best things I've ever seen. When I was single, it was always my tests for whoever I was dating, being like, if you don't like this, there's fucking no future guys. Like, you need, and I want to see you get through that really difficult first 9 minutes where it's all just fucking weird. The first 9 minutes of what? Every time you go back to what, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot the first 9 minutes of this. It's just him being mental and insane, and like it's 17 different fucking jokes with different. It's crazy, and then he goes into all the beautiful songs. Yeah, God, I love boom.
All right, okay, Norm Macdonald.
Oh man, fucking. I was so late to the Norm Macdonald party.
Yeah.
Like I remember watching him when I was like 21, 22 and just not getting it. It being too subtle for my fucking, hammer over the head shit. And then, I got into him and then 2 years later he died. So fucking didn't even get to meet him. Died.
On that note,
I have a name that's probably not on Varun's list.
Set up.
No, I have a name that's probably not on Varun's list. Dylan Moran. I'm a big fan of him, so I was just wondering.
Black Books was one of my absolute favorite TV shows growing up. I think Dylan is hysterical, and one of the few that makes drinking on stage look cool.
Why does he not put up special after special? Like, does he not tour enough? Does he not, like, what's the scene? This is purely me. I don't think anybody cares. This is just me asking.
He lives in Edinburgh, or he lives on the outskirts of Edinburgh. He still gigs and stuff, because I know places in Europe who we tour in the same venues and stuff. He's still going. I think he's just, doesn't mean as much to him anymore. Like, doing it his own way.
Okay.
All right, next, Jake Whitehall.
Jack Whitehall.
Jack Whitehall. Why am I calling him Jake Whitehall?
It's Jake Gyllenhaal and Jack Whitehall.
Jack Whitehall.
Jack Whitehall is an excellent entertainer. and a lovely man. And I am sure that he is one of the father. And every interaction I've had with him, he has been nothing but a deeply pleasant man. He deserves better than someone like me being snide behind his back.
All right. Okay, that was good. Well done. Yeah. Okay, so now that you're set to tour all over, where are you guys touring, by the way? What's the plan like?
Let's see how many I can get off. Right, so we're up.
Oh yeah, come on, let's do it.
We're doing, it's 8 cities, so it's Delhi. This isn't in order because I don't know the fucking order. Delhi, Bengaluru, Mumbai, Pune, Goa, Hyderabad, Chennai, Kolkata.
Not bad.
Damn, that's a lot of shows.
And how many of those did I say correctly?
All of them, by the way.
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
And you know what is great is that you also said by the names that they're actually addressed. Like, half of us don't end up saying Mumbai, we say Bombay. Okay. Right?
That was very confusing for them earlier.
Yeah.
Like, aren't they doing Bangalore? Like,
yeah, exactly.
But aren't they performing in like Mumbai? And it's like, It's like,
And what about Madras? Yeah. Wait, what's going on?
Where is this wonderful city of corn? I've heard so much.
So Ravina, can you just a little bit about what goes behind putting like such a big like tour together, especially international act coming down? Like, how do you decide? Tell us a little bit about the behind the scenes.
Yeah, because you don't have a problem with tickets. Selling the ticket is not the problem anymore.
Selling the ticket is not the problem anymore. It's making sure that somebody who's coming to tour India gets to actually explore a very, very exciting market. For me to open up India, as the sort of urban Indian crowd is getting more and more used to stand-up comedy being a really great entertainment option. I think a lot of international acts are quite surprised to see that they have fan bases here. Like, I know Daniel was before he came down. And he was just like, India, what? And a lot of people we've spoken to have the same reaction. It's like, what do you mean we have a fan base in India? And I think that it's quite exciting to be able to show to them that there's this insane market actually that is only going to grow from here, that you should actually put on your sort of international, when you're touring, you should put it on your itinerary. And so we created the loop for that. So the loop is there and like IP through which we're doing this. And Daniel is one of the first to kind of show us how that works. So you come in and you do a little loop, and then we expand it every year, because the idea was also to kind of find a sustainable way of doing it, which I think India has struggled with a little bit. And so we're trying to see, we took our time to get it in motion, but the idea was to kind of see how do we introduce it and seed it such that it sort of is scalable over time. And that's why we have Daniel Sloss doing 8 cities and setting the record. And then now we'll see how we go with that.
So did you call him like, hey, Daniel, can you do loop? And he said, can't.
He was like, India can't. But, yeah.
But Daniel, what's your prep been like for a tour as big as this? Like,
now that you've been here, like, are you changing and stuff? Like, are you?
Oh man, I've got no doubt that I'm sure the show will become its own sort of show in India, because I mean some of the stuff just doesn't translate. I mean, like, so much of the show is about what you can and cannot say, and I'm talking about what you can and cannot say to Europeans and Americans and Canadians and Australians who live in a very different system of like what they think censorship is and what they think, you know, is cancel culture and whatnot. So like a lot of the stuff I talk about is relatable, but I'm certainly gonna have to change the angle that I come at it from. So I'm excited to see the jokes grow in that way. And change. And then, man, I'm also I'm very excited to do fucking local material. Like, I enjoy going to, like, walking around a place and coming up with like what I've noticed about the city, because that, I mean, that's at the end of the day what comedy is so often, which is an outsider coming in, holding a mirror up to you and being like, here's the weird things I notice, and you'd be like, oh god, yeah, I look at this every day. And I guess that is a completely insane thing that I didn't realize because it's so normalized to me. So I enjoy the challenge of that, and yeah, man. I mean, and also just to there's a lot of fun in when you've been doing a show for 2 years, then still having to change it and be super present in the moment to knowing like, okay, that reference isn't going to work here because they don't have that. Yeah. How do I get to the same punchline?
Nice. And you know, the last time when you were here in Mumbai, I saw you eating vada pav and trying a whole bunch of other Indian food. So what are you most excited about eating? And Ravina, are you going to let him eat?
He's given me the whole list of things he wants to eat, and I'm like, on the last day, when you're about to get on your flight, I will feed you like crazy. But otherwise,
what's on your list, Daniel? What's on your list?
Oh man, I mean, the number one thing for us is just every single city we went to, and whenever we met or bumped into fans, the number one thing that was said is like, you have to try my mother's biryani. And just
nice.
Everyone clearly thinks their mother's biryani is the best biryani. And that is what I want to experience. I want to experience like the home cooking food of India. Like I know the street food is amazing. I want to try more and more of that. In a position where my pathetic, weak white boy stomach is not going to ruin, you know, the show the next day for me, the show that night for me. But God, yeah, man, I wanna, you know, never in my career did I thought I would ever actually get the chance to go to India. So I think there is like a responsibility for me to, like, I want to experience it. I want to see what it is actually like. So again, just so that I can make fun of it thoroughly.
Like, how did you do? How did you do on the flight? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Most of the people who tell you that their mother's biryani is the best, they're wrong, because my mother's biryani is the best.
But I can actually vouch for others' mother's biryani.
Yeah. These guys show up at my house and eat the non-vegetarian biryani that I don't get to eat anymore.
Yeah, because you have it with oatmeal.
Okay, so if you send us some, I'll allow him to have that.
Yeah.
I'll get it sent to you. I will genuinely get it sent to you. Yeah, done.
Okay, done. We're in Bombay on the 16th, and so that one I will allow him to have. But how did you do on the flight back? Because I remember we plied you with a bunch of street food just when you were like, he was done with his set at the festival.
Yeah.
In the green room, and he had to catch a flight, and I was like, cool.
Like I had a bit of a stomach, but it wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't like the worst I've had. It wasn't what I was expecting. Like I had a runny tummy, but man, I'll have diarrhea in business class. You know.
Yeah.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
I mean,
so
you love Love Is Blind, so of course you love diarrhea.
The pani puris, the little fucking ball things with the the thing in a burger, which was it vada pav?
Yeah, vada pav, correct.
But the thing that I found so fucking funny about that is just as a food, right? Is you've got this amazing like home cooked, handmade, delicious vegetarian thing, just on a fucking burger bun. Just from a people that make bread all the fucking time. Like there's like any single, like all of the mothers who are making this fucking thing could just make the fucking bun, a chapati, a fucking nut, whatever. But they're like, nah, it's got to be fucking store-bought burger bun. This is the one time we don't trust ourselves with the bread.
Yeah. But you know, to be honest, it's more fun eating without the bread.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Ravina, after the Pune show is done, you got to take him to Datta Vada Pav and make him try the real Vada Pav.
Yeah, he
Vada
also,
or
like,
Kirti College.
he also kept looking at everything. So we did like a misal pav and we did a vada pav. We did
Oh, that
pani
missile
puri.
power
He
goes
looked at
out of your
everything
body like
This
missile power.
Ravina from Delhi, no, should not be doing this. Bombay
No, we
tour.
just,
Please,
I
yeah.
mean,
It's
listen,
starting to really
that's
get
all, like,
embarrassing. Ravina, I will
just
send you a
talk.
list and you please do that in every
Okay,
city.
so
that
this
I'm
guy,
going.
okay, he prides himself on like being
No, he pretends to be a foodie. Yeah. I agree
Yeah,
with
yeah.
you. Huh. He
But
really
every
pretentious
time
foodie.
Daniel picked up something and Kai, and they just looked at each other and they were like, "This is stoner food." Everything that they picked up, they were like, "Who invented this?"
So,
It's so stoner. And I was like,
Oh, he liked that. That was the best reaction I've ever seen.
Daniel, this has happened every episode for the last 10 episodes. I don't intend for it to happen. I do something and this shit just starts coming.
I mean, you haven't seen the balloons and the hearts yet. Daniel, what's your spice level? Like, how are you? Are you properly white with spice?
No,
Yes.
I like
he goes red. No.
I go spicy. I don't think I can handle your spice, but in terms of British people, I would say I'm in the 10th percentile.
In the 10%. Okay. Cool. So
It was very sweet because he had the green chili. Him and Kai were both, and Kai was like, "I don't think you should do that. I don't think you should do that." And he was like, "What's the big deal?" And they were both, and he was like, "It's fine." And then Kai was like, "Oh yeah, okay." And then he took that mirchi that comes with whatever, and they ate it like this, and they're just looking at each other, and suddenly they're like,
Oh, but that's not spicy.
Dude, I was right there. I saw this happen and I'm looking at everybody else. I'm like, his flight bag's going to be bad. He just bit into a big fat mirchi.
Parts of me hurt, but that's nothing new.
I mean, he's so
No, I gave the other day I kept getting tea to set here, and so I'm working with a bunch of like white people. I'm working with like people who've been in England for all of their lives, so that's their food. I got chai. I got my chai that I made, and the director asked for the tea, and I was like, "You're sure?" Because I put like a lot of ginger and stuff like that. And I gave it to him, and he took 2 sips, and then he turns to me, and he goes, "It's hurting me and healing me at the same time."
Actually, that's quite an apt description
Yes.
of that specific way of making tea. Okay, so Daniel, if you have some more time, we found like a whole bunch of random facts about Scotland that we want to go through with you. Why not? Because this is the only time we're going to talk about it.
I've got a good segue about this. So I was in New York. I was doing stand-up, and I'm worried about, like, I'm in the green room, worried about going on stage and people not getting my accent. Okay, and I asked a bunch of comedians, and they're like, "No, you're fine. That fellow, he's gonna have issues." It's like, why? He's Scottish.
Yeah. Well, the Americans are not famous for their tolerance in trying to understand other people's accents.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah, and they have to understand ours, so because how else will they get their computers fixed? But
Okay, so you said you love football, but did you know King James I had banned football?
No. I couldn't even tell you who fucking King James I was.
All of this came from my intense research 7 minutes before we started. So I don't know James I from James VI. So one of them, it was first.
There wasn't a James VI, but let's go with it. It's fine.
I mean, sometimes I've watched Scotland play football, and I'm like, we should ban it. So
that's probably the reason.
That. Yeah.
He was a visionary. He banned it in 1428. He's like, they're never going to get better.
And he was right.
Well, you have Scott McTominay.
A Scotsman sorry,
we are actually qualifying for Euro. We qualified last one. We qualified for this one. It's a very exciting time to be Scottish.
Yeah.
Said no Scot ever.
There's so apparently basketball was invented by a Scotsman.
Oh
yeah.
They were actually trying to play football.
And this guy was cheating, and they was like, "You're cheating." I was like, "No, this is a new game." Yeah.
That's literally how fucking rugby was invented.
Yeah.
Some absolute fucking wanker picked up the ball and went, "Oh, we played this."
And then all of them beat him up, and they're like, "Hey, this
and
is
they
the
should have.
sport."
Yeah. Let's put it into land hockey.
Yeah.
Because the first time I went to Australia last year for a tour, and they have something called footy, right? So all this while Aussie rules, right? So they kept saying footy. I kept thinking football.
Yeah.
And then I actually went on the day the Melbourne Penguins or whatever, some bird that their team is named after. And the whole city, emus, no, that's more New Zealand. No? Whatever, I don't care. But it's also similar to like rugby or American football.
Oh, yeah, but it's more fucked and it's bigger. Yeah. I knew Scotland had invented golf. I knew that was us. I didn't know we did basketball.
By the way,
we're not tall people.
Yeah. Scotland's invented, like they've been the first in many, like.
Oh, we invented fucking everything. There's a whole book called The Scots Invented Everything. Yeah,
dude, I was going through, I said, okay, first fire brigade in like...
Really?
Early 1800s. Like, London didn't have it till like 1833, but apparently there were a lot of fires in Scotland and they thought it was necessary to have...
But also, is this book written by just like Scottish moms? Like, hey, we invented everything first.
My son
could be. Yeah. We did the telephone. We did the fucking radio. We invented fucking. I don't think we invented
the toaster and the refrigerator. I was like, what part of Scotland needs a refrigerator? Oh, you know what? It's very hot here. Let's invent something that will keep things cool. We don't need to. There's ice here.
Yeah, you forget how much it fucking rains, though. It's not fun. Right?
Yeah.
Rap battles were invented in Scotland.
There's no fucking way that's true. There's no fucking way that's true.
It's called the medieval art of flighting. Yeah, that's what it was called. The exchange of insults between two individuals using verse.
Oh, wow.
And then that's where it traveled to the US from Scotland immigrants.
There you go.
But then,
I'm going to have to deep dive.
Yeah, you should.
Dude, it's insane how much you learn on this podcast, guys.
Everyone just going on like no one's going to really check it.
Yeah, it's not for the jokes. It's for the information that people listen.
Yeah, I mean, one sec. You really think we fact check this show?
Yeah.
We've just said that Daniel was the youngest ever to perform on West End and made everyone believe it. So who cares?
But he was. Wikipedia said
it. Technically at the time.
Okay. Then Scotland also has the only knighted penguin in the world.
Yeah.
And his name is Sir Nils Olav, who is the king penguin. Have you seen this guy? Have you seen this penguin?
He goes for marches at Edinburgh Zoo. Yeah, he's around the corner.
No, he's not refrigerated.
He's not refrigerated.
He's not refrigerated. Okay, cool.
Daniel, funnily enough, a few years ago, our civic body thought that it'd be great if in our zoo in Mumbai, we could have penguins. They said, why? It's 43
You can imagine
degrees,
how that ended.
Right? Let's have penguins. I think they lasted 14 minutes.
That's good.
And
that's good. Respect to the penguins, honestly. 14 minutes is a good. But speaking of zoos, the Scottish what's it called? RZSS, the Royal Zoological Society of Scotland. Yeah. So a monkey has escaped from, and this is 2 weeks ago. A couple of weeks ago, a monkey escaped. And they tried to capture him. There was a massive rescue effort and a search effort using drones and infrared technology. But the monkey kept evading all the Scottish authorities from the zoo. And they finally caught the monkey when a woman left her leftover Yorkshire pudding outside in her yard, and the monkey was found eating, and that's where they captured him.
This sounds like Indian news.
One of the funniest interviews that has ever taken place is afterwards. It's just some of the doubt. It's like the most miserable Scottish police officer, and they're interviewing him about this very story. And the news reporter's like, "Oh, so what happened?" The police officer's like, "We caught him in the garden. We've taken him back." And it's like, "What if he tries to escape again?" It's like, "Well, he was out in the rainy Scottish Highlands and he was probably starving to death. So I don't think he'll be wanting to escape anytime soon." And then the news reporter goes, he's probably got lots of stories to tell his friends when he gets back. And the police officer with 100% sincerity goes, he's unable to speak. Just the most, just killing any joy and banter in the fucking air. Oh, Ravina, I'll send you the fucking clip afterwards. It's I've watched it so many times. It's the funniest
but can I just say something? Maybe the cop didn't want the monkey to speak more than him just giving that factual information out because of how the cops have treated that monkey. It could have been like, he's not able to speak anymore.
That's so good. Please do send it.
And the monkey's inside, I can't speak. He just won't let me. I've been harassed. Also, Daniel, tell us when and how old were you when you first saw the Loch Ness Monster? Tell us about that.
My father ruined the Loch Ness Monster for me when I was like, I think I was about 8 or 9 years old. My grandparents lived up in the north of Scotland, so we would regularly, well, not regularly, but every couple of months we'd drive past Loch Ness. And I got out and I was like, oh man, I wonder, if we'll see Loch Ness today. My father, a very logical man, spent the rest of the car journey down, which is like another 3 fucking hours, explaining to me how there is not a chance something that big could survive in that little body of water in terms of the amount of fish required to keep sustained. And the fact that it's not connected directly to the sea. So even if there was a Loch Ness Monster in there at any point, it is unfeasible and absolutely unimaginable that it would be able to.
Dude, I can't imagine what he must have told you when you asked. Yeah, no, I can't imagine what he must have said when you asked him about Santa Claus. Son, there's no way that dude's fitting through that chimney. We don't have a chimney. He can't even come in. The door is locked.
Don't get me started on the reindeers.
Was your dad the one who gave the interview about the monkey?
That would be very heavy. So I think if I no joy.
And funnily enough, the national animal of Scotland is a unicorn.
Yes.
That's
yeah. I think we were drunk when they were asking. Like, I think they were just, England said around the forum, was like, everyone has to have an official animal. And we were like, unicorn. And England was like, there's no such thing as unicorn. And we were just like, fucking unicorn. And England was like, you know what, I'm going to write it down then. I'm going to write down unicorn. And we're like, all right, don't care. See if we give a fuck. And now, I can almost guarantee that's the way it happened.
I'm not even surprised. All right. Ravina, do you want to just tell everybody watching when the shows are happening? We're obviously going to put tickets in the link so people can go buy it, but just when, what, where, how, take it away.
Daniel Sloss reaches India after all your threats to him. He will be arriving on the 15th. We start our tour. There have been a lot of very aggressive threats. It's the he's not here for fun. He's here out of fear. But yeah, so he's here on the 15th and he will be touring 8 cities for over like 10 quick days. And we have 2 shows each in Bangalore and Mumbai, in Bengaluru and Mumbai. And he doesn't want to hear a single person asking about when you're coming to Mumbai next. So if you're going for, if you're in any of these cities, do come. There are the last few tickets left.
So tickets are on Insider, and just really quickly, 15th March is Delhi, 16th March is Mumbai, 17th March is Bengaluru, 19th March is Goa, 20th March is Pune, Chennai on the 22nd, 23rd Hyderabad, 24th Kolkata. So that's the tour. So
awesome. Great. Daniel, Ravina, thank you so much for joining us. This was a lot of fun. Honestly, like we can just stretch this and go on and on.
Also, 31st March, I'm performing at the Camden Comedy Club. Get tickets. I'll be at the Camden Comedy Club. Yeah, we've got a few tickets left. Go. Please
bring your own biryani. You can bring food.
You will have biryani. I'll get the biryani sent to you. Yeah.
Once again, guys, thank you so much. Daniel, have a great tour. Thank you so much for joining us. It's going to be fantastic. I watched the show. I'm going to come watch again, obviously. And the show is great. So everybody watching the podcast, please go buy tickets. It's in the pinned comments below. Thank you guys once again. And that's it from this episode of The Internet Said So. And yeah, good night. Take care. Bye-bye. Salam ishq.
you. Varun, now would be a good time to take the intro of the show.
Yeah, we should do the intro.
Welcome to another episode of the Internet.
No,
Your voice cut.